Let us see the 4 ways to implement expand and collapse functionality using CSS properties, visibility, opacity, height and display. I have a div element with the CSS class box applied, and inside that we have two elements like title and content. So whenever we hover on this title, we need to expand or collapse this content element. And we have applied example 1 CSS class to the title and content. Now let's go to style.css and let us see how we can achieve it using the visibility property. I am going to apply the visibility property with value visible. So by default our content section is visible. Now whenever we hover on this title element, we need to hide this content element. So for that we can simply define the hover. So example 1 and title hover. So on hover of the title, so whenever we want to affect the adjacent element on hover of other adjacent element, then we can use the plus symbol and simply say example 1 dot content, and here we are going to say visibility hidden property we are going to use. Now just hover on this title, there we go. So whenever we hover on this title, visibility hidden will be applied to the content section and content section will be hidden. And whenever we just mouse leave, we can see the content visible, right? But there is a problem with this visibility property. For example, if you have an element placed after this box element, let's say h3 after content. So generally what we expect, whenever this content section is hidden, then we expect this after content to move up, right? So whenever we just hover on this title, we don't see that after content is moving up, because the space that is occupied by the content section is still remains same in the DOM. So that's the reason we don't see this after content is moving up. So this is the problem we are having with the visibility property with value hidden. Now let us see the second property, that is opacity. I just copy paste this entire section and I place it on top so that we can always see the latest example on the top, and I name it example 2. And I just replace the example 1 CSS class with example 2. So just copy paste this 2 and here example 2, and this time I am going to have some dark color, and we don't require this visibility property, and instead of that we are going to have opacity 1. Take this example 2 and use it here. Let's have the color as FFF. And one more thing, I just changed the title of this, so this time it should be opacity 1 to 0. Now just hover on this title, there we go. So it works same as visibility, but one difference, we can see the smooth transition whenever we are using the opacity, right? So opacity 1 means you can see the element completely visible, and opacity 0 means you can't see the element at all. Like in case of visibility, in case of opacity also, we don't see this after content is moving up whenever this content section is invisible. So now let us see the third property, that is height. So let's go to the HTML and again just copy paste this example 2 this time. Take this and this time I am going to have some blue color. Till now we have seen how to hide the content section on hover, right? So instead of that, let us see how we can do that on click of this title. For that I am going to write some basic JavaScript code. I have already referred app.js in our HTML page with the defer keyword, so that this app.js will load once the HTML content is completely loaded. Now let's go to app.js, Ctrl+Shift+E to open the Explorer. In app.js I am going to access this title and content element quickly. So const title 3 equal to, so document dot query selector, and so we are going to use the selector like example 3 dot content and example 3 dot title, and the same way let's, now whenever we click on this title we need to hide this content section. For that we need to listen to the click event of title 3. So title 3 dot add event listener, and we are going to listen to the click event, and then let's take the callback function. So inside this callback function we are going to implement the logic to hide this content section. So for that I am going to write a CSS class. So here I say example 3 dot content dot, I am going to define class toggle. So toggle, and we are going to set height 0. So as of now, let's set height 0 and then I will tell you what we need to do. Content 3 dot. So we have the class list object available on HTML element. So class list dot, we are going to use the toggle. So if you are new to toggle method, please do watch my suggested video. You just add and remove the CSS class from the HTML element. So toggle and CSS class name also toggle we have created. So toggle and save it. Now just click on this. There we go. But we see that this element is not completely hidden, right? Still there is a space because this space is occupied by the padding. So go to style.css, say padding 0. Now just click on this. There we go. Now we can see that entire content section is invisible. And also we observe one thing. Now this after content is moving up. Whenever we expand it, it goes to the original position where it is declared, and whenever we just collapse it, it is going up, right? And this is the difference. And along with the height, we can use the opacity property also, and that gives very smooth transition effect. Content, so here we have already defined opacity 1. So take this, say opacity 0. So let's have the cursor pointer for this example 3 title, cursor pointer. And now we can see that a smooth transition, right? Even you can add the scale effect, like we can simply add the transform property with value scale y. First let's say 1. By default we are going to show it, and whenever we are hiding it, let's just have the scale 0. So scale y 0. Now just expand and collapse. Now we can see that, right? But we don't see that coming from the top. So it is just, somewhere it is closing on the top, right? So for that we can simply say transform origin top. Now you can see that effect. Now let us see the last property, that is display. So go to index.html and the same way just copy again example 4, and I am going to remove this transform origin everything, and opacity let it be, there is nothing wrong. Actually I will make it example 4. Yeah, so now we have the example 4 and we are going to hide it using the display property. So here itself you can have cursor pointer. Actually that's cool. Now go to app.js. Now let us access the example 4 title and content. Instead of example 3, just mention example 4. Once again copy this and it should be title 4, add event listener, and this should be 4. And like toggle I am going to define one more CSS class. So here I say example 4 content toggle, I say display. So I just name it like that. You can give any name, opacity 0, display none. So display none we are going to use. So whenever we click on this, we are going to hide it using the display none. So we need to apply this toggle display CSS class. Go to app.js, instead of toggle just use the toggle display. Now just click on it. So nothing is happening. Title 4 toggle display. Here we are going to use display block. Something is wrong. Okay, here we have example 4. That's why, sorry. And now just click on the expand and collapse. There we go. So it works same as the height, right? So then what is the difference? We don't see that this content is collapsing and expanding smoothly. In case of height property, we can see that it is expanding and collapsing very smoothly. And if you like this video, please do hit the like button, and also please do subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.